Welcome, everybody. I think we got everyone on, which is awesome. So stoked to see you all here. Matt, I'm not sure if it's you or Wade that is driving, but just if you are in an area where you're going to have a lot of noise, just mute yourself when you're not talking. That would be awesome. And then go ahead and unmute yourself when you need to chat. So, all right, JT, I'm going to kick it over to you, man.
Awesome. Sweet, guys. Just to make sure, can you all see my screen all right?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Well, it's awesome to have you guys all here. I'm stoked to be able to give you guys a little bit of training today. We've got some cool stuff that we'll be going over. So hopefully you guys all had a good December and started out your month of January well. Today we are going to have a couple goals just to start out. I'm hoping everybody can learn something new. And if you guys have any insights, please feel free to share them as the call goes on, and then be open to asking any questions. We want to make sure that this is beneficial for everybody, and there's never a dumb question. So feel free to hop right in whenever you guys need to ask anything. So as a reminder for all you guys, the inner circle, you guys have access to a couple things. Just want to make sure that you guys are taking advantage of it. You've got obviously this training call that we're on. We have it once a month, and we also have that Voxer number that we sent out to you guys. So if you guys have any questions about your Facebook or campaigns as time goes on, you guys can just send that over to us through the Voxer number, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible on it and give you any detailed instructions that you might need while making decisions on your Facebook ads or moving forward with them. As well as just to give you guys a heads up to be aware of the email that will be sent out close to the end of this month with the top performing ads and strategies for this month as well, and any tips and tricks that we saw was working really well on Facebook. We'll make sure to have that all out to you this month at probably just around the end of January, beginning of February. So keep an eye out for that. So to start out this call, I wanted to kind of jump into what happened last month. I wanted to ask anybody if they had any insight on running those product videos that we trained on and warming up any audiences. So did anybody move that forward and see any results from it?
Yeah, I did. I did pretty well actually on it. That was one of the things I was going to say with the the start of the call, is that I implemented that. It was a conversions campaign, and I think I got like 15 conversions.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. What kind of ad did you do with the product video? Did you just throw home up, or what was kind of your strategy there?
Yeah, so I just did a picture of one of the houses that I had bought, and I just on Canva, I just did like a little square box that was black and then I put "We Buy Houses" in the city name in the little box. And then I just put like "Get an offer in 1 to 2 hours," and when the little text pops up, and then below that I just put "Sell as is." So it was just a little simple thing.
Nice. Awesome, man.
That's awesome. And go ahead, JT.
No, you got it, Kylie.
Are those all, you're pushing all those to your Carrot site, right, Zach?
Yeah. Yep. Just a Carrot site. Yeah. And I did kind of like a split test thing. So on one of them, because this was 2 different campaigns in 2 different cities. So one of them I had that just went to a website, or that was my website, where I did like a video explaining like what the process was. And then another one I just had just directly to my site, but they both converted.
I love it. For Wade and Matt, as you guys are a little newer coming into Inner Circle, and also a little bit newer to Facebook marketing than Zach is, I would definitely recommend that you take some time to check out his business Facebook page. The reason I recommend that, Zach has done a great job building his campaigns over time and building his brand over time. He's also really consistent with his video creation, and I believe that's had a strong impact on his long-term success. So if you're wondering how or what, or trying to figure out how to do video for your Facebook business page, Zach is a great guy to go check out. He's got good stuff there.
Thanks, Kylie.
Nice. Where can we find him at?
Zach, what's your Facebook page name? I buy Pueblo houses, correct?
Yeah, I put it in the chat box.
Okay. Zach's in Pueblo, Colorado.
Thanks, Zach.
No problem. Thanks. Yeah, no problem, man.
This is the vision, guys, of Inner Circle is, of course, that JT and I are teaching you some cutting edge stuff that we are using to continually to drive good results. I love the collaboration that comes when you just get smart people in the room together. So we can definitely look for opportunities to share things like this with one another. Thanks, Zach. Really appreciate it.
Is there, and this is, I'm green, as Kylie said. How did you create the ads for that? Is it within Facebook, Kylie, to be able to create that ad?
Yes. So the ads that JT mentioned from last month, they are product video ads. And you get access, once you join Inner Circle, you get access to previous calls. So we can send you the link for that previous call, and you can go through that training and understand exactly how to make those. And then Zach also uses a lot of just video that he shoots on his phone. House walkthroughs, explanations of how his process works, testimonials, those types of things. So there's two different things we're talking about there. There's the actual video tool that Facebook has, which is awesome. And then there is Zach just shooting his own videos, which is something that we teach aggressively. I don't know if aggressively is the right word. We teach consistently that video is really important.
Awesome. So, and as that campaign rolls on, make sure to pay attention to those video views. If you start getting a high amount, we can start creating some lookalike audiences on that. I've seen that work as well. So that may be something you guys might throw into some testing as time goes on and you collect more of those video views on Facebook. Well, let's jump in.
I have a question real quick, about that.
Yeah.
So what's like a comfortable amount that you, or like what amount of video views would you feel comfortable with in creating a lookalike? Because obviously the bigger the better, but what would you say?
Yeah, I always at least waited till past 1,000. I would recommend leaving that video in there for a couple of weeks. So I usually do it around 2,000, like 1.5 to 2,000 video views, depending on how many conversions I've had off of it.
Cool, man. Sounds
JT, are you talking about a retargeting audience or a lookalike audience, or both?
Lookalike audience.
Great.
Yeah. Well, great. So if no one else has any more questions about last month's training or results, let's jump into today's. It's an awesome topic that we're going to be talking about. I don't know how many of you have heard of the Canvas or instant experience ads that you can run on Facebook. They've been officially out for almost, I think, 6 months now. They are a really good way of being able to mesh a website and a on Facebook experience together. That would probably be the best way that I could explain how the product works. So we're going to talk a little bit about the strategy that you guys can be using on this, and I'll walk through what I created and what I've been testing to get the best results possible. So I would use this campaign and use this strategy when you're looking to warm up an audience or filter by motivation. So what I mean by that is picking an audience, generally a broad audience that you're trying to filter out the most motivated people from, while being able to keep your ad spend low. And you'll want to make sure in any of these strategies that you use that you keep, you optimize for a landing page view to make sure that you're capturing actually motivated people, as well as watching your engagement to make sure it's increasing. So the secret sauce today is not so much in the ads and what you say on the ads, but more so in the campaign and audience setup. What we'll be walking through is creating a broad prospecting campaign with an easy goal. One that I used for today's main campaign is a link clicks campaign, because it has a really easy goal to get people going through, clicking on your ad, and you can filter really easy when you have it as a broad prospecting audience to find which ones are motivated and which ones aren't. We'll be setting up an instant experience with an option to click through to your website or fill out a form. So this is a new tactic that I've found, that you're able to actually offer two options to people. Not only the option to go to your website, but also the option to instantly fill out a form, which I'll show you guys how to do. 3, you'll be setting up audiences to make sure that we're capturing everybody who is motivated and those who need a little bit more time to drip on. And we'll be creating a lead form and conversions retargeting campaign, which if you're not familiar with, that's okay. We can walk through it. But I assume most of you are pretty familiar with the original lead form creation. So let's go ahead and jump in to the ads manager. And these are the two campaigns that I had created to kind of show you guys this training today. And stop me if I'm going a little fast, or if you guys have any questions, just holler out and we'll explain it a little bit more. So the first one that we're going to want to look into is the link clicks campaign that I created. So let's jump in here. So as you can see, I named it Instant Experience so I can remember which one it was. I've got the objective as the traffic and just keeping it as an original campaign. I'm not messing with any of the new budget optimization for the campaign side, just because I'm only going to keep one ad in this ad set for now, and one ad set right now. But if you were to do multiple ad sets, I'd recommend turning on budget optimization. What that will do is you'll be able to select a campaign budget, and Facebook's algorithm will automatically select which ad set's performing best and allocate more of your daily budget towards it. But for this one, I'm just keeping one ad set in there for now. So I'm going to keep the budget at the ad set level. So jumping into the ad set, I wanted to keep this link clicks campaign as a broad prospecting campaign. So I wanted as many people as I could in the ad set. What I did was put a daily budget of about $5. We're going for link clicks, so you don't need to be spending as much, but obviously the higher you go, the more traction that you're going to be getting. Here, I have just used a geographical location. And as you can see, the potential reach, I have about 850,000 people. Part of that is when I run most of these broad ad sets, I like to keep the age of about at least 30 and up. And then I like to exclude some people. So I exclude real estate agents and brokers, and anybody who has the job titles or the employers of that. Just because when I'm doing broad prospecting, I find a lot of agents that end up commenting on it. If you're going for trying to pair up with an agent and work with them, that can be a good thing. But sometimes you like to exclude them, so you're just getting homeowners.
Hey, JT, I have a question about what you just covered. So on the on the broad campaign that I guess it's just a link click. So you would still recommend the like the age range of 30 to 65, even though on some of like some of the sellers that I've had, they've really only been in the range of like 45 plus. So you would still do that, like the 30 range?
Yeah, I personally do the 30 range. If you're seeing that in your market where you're specializing in that you're only getting 45 and up, then you could go ahead and change that. I like the 30 and up because I still get some good engagement around the ages between 30 and 40.
Oh,
So I like the engagement on there, but in your market, it may be a little bit different. That's definitely something I would pay attention to after a couple weeks of running the campaign. Check out the data behind it and see what age range, what demographics are clicking on your stuff.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and a good point that Zach pointed out is that there are other markets that may have more people that are needing to sell in a lower or higher age range, and you guys have complete control of being able to look at that in your data for your Facebook. You can go ahead and select demographics to be able to see what people, what type of people are clicking on your ads. So what age range or where they're located at in your marketing. So you guys can go ahead and kind of make that decision as time moves on, but I would definitely give it a few weeks to be able to catch any trends that might be happening. Here, I kept the automatic placements. For this particular ad, it's mainly going to show on Facebook, but I like to keep the automatic just in case that there's something I might be missing, or after a couple of weeks again, I might go back and edit the placements and pick which ones are most effective for me. So at the beginning of the campaign, I like to keep it automatic. And then, like I said, optimizing for landing page views, because we're going to want to retarget anyone who is a landing page view. And those are generally going to be more motivated than just clicking on the link and not letting it load. So this is the ad set, and we'll jump in to our first instant experience. For those of you that aren't familiar with the instant experience or Canvas ads, the way to create one is you just scroll down here, and there's a little tab that says instant experience. You're going to go ahead and you'll hit create, or it'll have pick one. And I'll show you guys what I created. Instead of going with one of the templates that they offer, they have a few of them. A lot of people go with the acquire a new customer template. I personally think that's a good one if you're only trying to show some product videos and drive a little bit of traffic. But with this particular ad, I wanted to have a little bit more of a strategy involved to be able to filter out some motivation. So I like being able to give them a couple of options in the instant experience. And so I went and created my own instant experience Canvas ad. It'll pop up as a blank first, and you'll be able to add any components you want with a button at the top. And they'll have a couple different options. My first option that I always use is a header. So right here with this strategy, what I'm going for is I'm trying to drive some traffic to a blog post or some content that I've created on my website. So I first started out with my header, and I put read more by clicking below. I have a small image that I put in that has a link to my website to be able to read about the blog or content that I posted. And I've got here a form that I added in. So for each of these components, all you have to do, like I said, is just click component, and it'll pop up with a couple of options, and you pick which one you want. They're pretty generic. They've got form, header, link, button, and a couple others that are just very generic and pretty self-explanatory. So here, as you scroll down, I put, you can either click on the ad, click below to read the ad or read the blog, or get your free cash offer now. And here is the lead form. Just like any other lead form, it fills out right on the page. And once it's filled out, you can head in and you create it just the same as any other lead form that you guys have created in the past. Add your privacy and thank you screen. And the second thank you screen, The creative will always be on these instant experiences from the ad that you created. And you've got your thank you right there. It'll also just have a link down at the bottom for anybody who fills out the form and wants to go to your website, which obviously will be a higher motivated lead. So that's the instant experience. Does anyone have any questions about creating that?
Yeah, I had a question. If you go back up to the image of like the listing versus selling to us, so obviously you can choose which image to put there, right?
Yep. It's 100% up to you. And I'll tell you the reason why I did this image with this particular ad as we go over it. What I'm trying to do is I'm building, kind of getting together a strategy of driving people to read some content on my website just to get to see how motivated they are. So for this particular example, and for some clients that I've been doing recently, they have a blog that talks about hot topics that are going on with the market. And this is one that, we hear a lot about, listing versus selling to a wholesaler. So I decided to use that as my hot topic. And in the ad itself, I based it off of anybody who'd be interested in selling their house right here to how to sell your home in 2019. Read more here, trying to make it very, capturing for somebody who's looking for more information on selling their house. And then I put uncrack the secret to selling your home for cash, never having to hold an open house and not paying any realtors or fees. So another line just to see if we can capture anybody who's actually interested in selling, rather than most broad prospecting campaigns we run or more for like home quotes or any interest in a possible cash offer. This one's more just trying to get anybody who would be possibly interested in selling their house in 2019. And the reason why I'm doing that is because in that instant experience, they have the option of getting a cash offer now, or they're going to go to your website and they're going to learn about what it is to sell to a wholesaler on your content. And if they're interested, they're going to click through and go ahead and put their information in on your website. But if they're not interested, most of them will probably just exit out of this screen because they've got this instant form here. So what I'm seeing is the people who are clicking through are a lot more have a lot more higher motivation. And so we're kind of able to filter people a little bit, and we'll be able to, even if they don't fill out a form on your website, remarket to them. And I've seen my retargeting for campaigns that have been running like this actually increase. So I've been seeing more ads or more leads come through from running ads like this. So we'll go ahead and show you the audiences that you need to set up in order to be able to filter this. So let's go here. And we'll just jump into Silver Street real quick. The main audience so the way that you're going to get to this audience is similar to customizing or creating other audiences that you have in the past for your website or different lists that you guys might have. So you go ahead, go into the custom audience, and you're going to bring up engagement, and then you're going to click on full screen experience is what it's under. So as you click on that, you have a couple of options. Make sure you pick your page, because that's what your instant experience is saved under. And you have these two options to be able to click on it. People who open this instant experience and people who click on any links in this instant experience. So for your first one, I would create anyone who clicked on any links in this instant experience, because it's going to be necessary to be able to retarget to those particular people. You'll want to make sure that you have a couple other audiences created in order to get your most money worth out of retargeting to these people. One of them is going to be anybody who opened the instant experience, anyone who clicked the links, and then you're also going to create an audience for any of the submissions of the lead forms. that is the same way to create any sort of lead form audience. You just go ahead and click into the custom audience, and you go to your engagement, and you go to lead form, and you just select your page and go to the instant experience. It saves it under that same form. So it's just titled it's titled whatever you saved your instant experience as. So you can go ahead and do that. And the reason why we need those retargeting audiences is to be able to filter your new campaign that you'll set up for your remarketing. And that is the secret sauce to this whole thing, is being able to filter those audiences. Because if you're just running a broad prospecting the whole time, you will be getting some conversions. You will be able to get some good leads off of that, but you're missing out on a whole chunk of people who have had high motivation, but just may have not filled out the form that one time. They say, oftentimes I've heard, it takes 7 interactions to be able to get a true conversion. So that kind of goes off that mindset. Let's keep them in our retargeting and send them some more ads, because their time and their information is still valuable. So the way that you would set this up in the retargeting audience is making sure that you have included anybody who's clicked on their links, but you exclude anybody who has submitted the form. And what that's going to do is just make sure you're not retargeting people who have already sent you their information. So anybody who clicked the links, and anyone who exclude anybody who filled out the form already. I would personally also exclude any lead audience that you have from your website. So if you have an audience that's based off of people who added to your cart or got to the lead page, I would exclude that audience on this as well, just in case if anyone who did click on the link and didn't fill out the form, they're the ones being retargeted and not the person who actually did click on the link and fill out the form. So that's the way to make sure that you're getting the highest motivation out of using this instant experience.
I have a question, JT.
Yeah.
So on when you're building your audience for the instant experience, that's based are you including so let's say for example that you're running lead ads at that same time, would you include the engagement audience for lead ads too in that audience somehow, or?
Yeah, so you can include that engagement into this. I personally would keep it separate. And the reason is just because I know that these particular audiences were looking for a blog post about why they should sell their home for cash. So the ad that I create for them will probably be different than somebody who is in one of my lead form targeting campaigns. And I was, depending on what ad I sent to them. So most of my lead form ads are get a instant quote on your house and whatnot. So I like to keep them kind of in a different retargeting that might be, a conversions campaign that has a different creative that they were used to seeing before in that first campaign that I sent them. But you could add them to this audience. It's not going to hurt you to add them to this audience. It just depends. It's more of a personal preference, I think, if you want to keep it more dedicated to a certain demographic or a certain audience versus keeping it including all your audiences in the retargeting.
Okay.
Yeah. So, with this particular one, my personal preference is that I want to run them a special set of ads that either point them to more content or are more based off a testimonial if they click through to my website. And so I just like to keep them more in their own audience, just so I can keep track of them better.
JT, let me jump in and just add a thought. So with all of this stuff, guys, that one of the things there's a couple things you need to consider as well. One is your budget. So if you've got a smaller budget, splitting that out across multiple retargeting audiences gets kind of tricky. So in that case, you may combine audiences now and then later potentially split those out as your budget grows. And the way you're going to make that decision is there's really two ways to make that decision. One is whether your daily spend for an ad set is high enough that you're still getting reach and seeing conversions. If you see that reach plummet, that's typically a function of a small audience. There are other reasons too, but often one of those is a small audience, or your budget is not large enough to get the pixel going. So that's where you'd maybe combine audiences. The other thing to think about is how much time you or whoever is managing this for you on your team has. So obviously, as you add more complexity, you're enhancing your marketing strategy and long-term your results. But it's important to weigh that against your time that you have or that you're willing to put in, so that whatever you're putting out there, you're taking the time to make it the best possible.
Awesome. Thanks, Kylie. Do any of you guys have any other questions about this?
Well, I did just, I like the way that you have yours set up on that, and I'm actually going to try, probably that exact way that you did, but I noticed it gave us like 16 different options. So is that just like a longer carousel ad then?
Yeah, so this instant experience is just my own created instant experience that I put a header, a photo, and then a lead form. Those were the only three that I selected. But you can go through and you could do a carousel ad if you wanted to. But I just did a normal link clicks ad with an image. So that's the one I paired it with. So I'll show you right here on my screen. So I paired it with just a normal image and video ad. Sorry?
So when they click on it, it'll basically come to that page that we saw before?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's what happens. And you guys can go ahead when you can preview these and send them to your own mobile devices. With a lead form, they don't like to send a good preview. Usually with the lead form, you can only preview it on your computer. But if you have a instant experience without a lead form, or if you want to look at it before you insert the lead form, you can always preview it on your mobile device as well to see exactly how somebody on their cell phone will see it. But it's really clean. And yeah, it's just like a scroll down. So the best way I would be able to explain an instant experience is it kind of meshes on Facebook type of like interaction with your website. So it's kind of a way to mesh the two. And the reason why I say that is because the instant experience has so many pixels that like it has the pixels on there. So you can measure, like you could even measure how many seconds, if you inserted a video into it, how many seconds somebody watched the video inside the instant experience. So it kind of meshes the two between the tracking of your website, but also keeping them on Facebook so that you don't have to worry about load time or losing people when they're trying to get to your website.
Heck yeah, I love it. I'm going to try it for sure.
Awesome. Sweet,
This, you guys, is a natural evolution for Facebook. As we've mentioned in the past, or if you've watched any of my videos or podcasts, something I've talked about is that Facebook wants people to stay on Facebook because that means they're spending more time browsing. Facebook can send more ads to them. Facebook makes more revenue. The value of Facebook increases, which is great for anyone who owns stock in Facebook, etc. So when they rolled out lead ads, this was probably 2014, that was their primary goal, was to give businesses, advertisers, the ability to generate leads without having to send people away from Facebook. And lead ads have come a long way, but there are still some unique challenges with those. And part of those are for businesses like ours, where we need to find people with a higher intent than say, yeah, I'm interested in signing up on the mailing list for this band that's coming to town so I know when they're coming to town. The intent is much different than someone who might have a distressed property to sell. So this instant experience and Canvas is an evolution for advertisers to keep people on Facebook, but give them a more meaningful experience. And I anticipate, based on how these work over time, this is something that we'll continue to see updates or variations on as Facebook continues to try to provide the perfect tool or the best tool for us to do everything we need to do, and Facebook gets to keep everybody on Facebook. So that's it's interesting to kind of look at it that way, or at least it is for me, because I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff. But if you think about it that way, that may help you wrap your head around what Facebook is trying to allow you to do here.
Awesome. Thanks, Kylie. I definitely back up what Kylie says. As I've been managing accounts, I've seen more of a push towards, this Canvas or instant experience type of ads. They're even adding some ad accounts with the access to their lead forms to have an instant experience with the lead form solely, just the lead form part. So it seems like the more you play with it, I would say the better it is, because you're going to be seeing this roll out more and more. And, we've seen in the past when Facebook has something that they're going to try to promote or encourage more people to do, you seem to get optimized a little bit better on it and see some good results. So I would definitely give this a shot and run it for a bit of time, if not a few months, to let it really sink in and gather all that data that you can get off of it.
Yeah, and I want to add to that, guys. Please take advantage of the Voxer app as you're implementing this, or it doesn't have to be what we talked about for this month, because each of you are at different stages in your campaign and in your Facebook advertising growth. So you can ask us other questions in general about what's going on Voxer. We also have the option to jump on a one-on-one call with us. There is a little additional charge for that. If you want to talk about that, just let us know. But long story short, you guys have access to ask us questions, and I want to encourage you to take advantage of that. We would love to answer questions and make sure you guys are getting as much value and success out of this as you absolutely can.
Awesome. All right, guys. So we've gone through the secret sauce. Like Kylie said, if you have any questions, make sure to reach out. The best times of why and when to use this, there's a couple reasons. One, it's cheap. You can get landing page views down to 8 cents a pop. You can make sure that you're getting a large audience viewing a lot of your information and filtering out that motivation. You can find, when you need more ways to convert a lead, this gives them 3 different options of ways that they can convert. So they can either convert on that instant form right there on that experience. They can convert going to your website, filling out a form, or they can convert later when they've got that retargeting coming through. This is just kind of the setup to keep in mind. So these are the steps that you'll want to go through. Make sure you start with this left side, going with your link clicks campaign, setting your broad ad set, and creating your instant experience. Once you have those created, go through, create your audiences, and you can start setting up your retargeting campaign with the ad set on those audiences with what I like to use is a original lead form and testimonial video.
Hey, JT.
Yeah.
Zach had a great question he just put through the chat.
Okay.
He wants to know if you can use a video in place of the image on the instant experience.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put that in there, man. I just didn't want to forget, and I didn't want to interrupt you. But yeah, so yeah, I thought there's a couple different ways to use that feature as well of the video.
100%. Yeah, you can throw that video in there, and like I mentioned a little bit earlier, you can make sure to retarget that video alone on a separate ad set. And let's say you only want to retarget at people who watched 50% of the video. The Canvas instant experience gives you that option, so they'll actually watch people, and that's because it's still in Facebook, right? So you have so many more retargeting audiences. You have so much more pixel data coming from it because they're staying in Facebook. So there's different options you can add in. I definitely look through that if I were you.
Nice. Cool.
Awesome. So is there any other questions that we can answer for you guys before we hop off this call?
No, nothing here.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, if you guys do, make sure you hit us up on Voxer.
Yes, please do. We're excited to answer questions. And with these next couple minutes too, just want to throw out there, we can answer questions unrelated to what we just talked about. So if you've got a burning question or something you're stuck on, now is a great time to ask it. Of course, you can always ask it through Voxer as well.
So I kind of had a question. So, I mean, it's not really a question. It's more of just like what's been working for me. I just want to kind of let people know. So I've had kind of experience doing what I said on the beginning of the call, but I've also had a little bit of experience where like I update my blog just for SEO purposes, like about 2 or 3 times a month, and I hire somebody to write the content. So it's usually pretty good content. So I've been having like experience just shooting that blog post when it comes out to my retargeting audience, and then putting a conversion form at the top of the blog post. I've been having some experience doing that too lately.
Awesome. I love it, Zach. Thank you for sharing that. And actually brings up something that I wanted to chat about, which last week I spent a couple days with Carrot working on their summit. I don't know if any of you had the chance to watch that, but it was basically Trevor and Adrian, and they brought a handful of other investors and marketers and things like that on the call to talk about what really is going to matter in 2019 and moving forward. And one of the themes that came up a lot that I agree really strongly with is the power of content, and the power of content to differentiate you from others. So depending on what the market decides to do in 2019, and by the way, most of the big investors that were on there did not foresee any kind of scary crash or anything like that. Their message was more that we might see a leveling of the market. So it might become a more quote unquote real market versus the market we've had for a little while, where margins were so high because the market was continually appreciating. And we also see some big players coming into the space. So Zillow is, we anticipate seeing them put more out there of their home buying service, and iBuy and Open Door and some of these big services. And I think sometimes our reaction is to be worried or scared about that. I'm actually super excited because the thing that those big guys are going to do is help educate the market. And the more the market is educated, the more likely people are to search for local solutions. So if the market is becoming more educated about what it means to sell your home to an investor, people who are right now investing in building themselves a brand that is recognizable in their area are going to be a step ahead. So Zach, your utilization of that content is awesome. And there's a lot of ways to tackle that. You can hire someone. You can, if you are, I think everyone in here is on Carrot. You can, there's a plan where they'll give you content on a regular basis. So it's called the Content Pro plan. And just a disclaimer, I think everyone knows this now. I work with Carrot now, but I would have told you that even if I didn't, because I've seen great success with that.
No, I don't believe it, Kylie. You changed.
They're paying them to say it.
I receive no affiliate commission from that message. You can do it yourself, right? If you're a great writer or whatever. Long story short, your content matters. So blog posts, videos, testimonials, those types of things, those are going to continue to matter even more than they have in the past. So awesome share, Zach. Really appreciate that. And I would encourage everyone to think about that as you move into 2019.
Yeah, Kylie, and on that note, I use the Content Pro as well for my content, and I've made it a habit to just edit you know, 20% of it, just kind of go through and change the wording and stuff, so it's a little more customized, and that seems to be working better.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks for sharing that. I think that's a great idea. It allows you to utilize what they're giving you, but also make it your own.
Just make sure that it's applicable to your market, you know, because like I was going through some of the content that I just had automatically set to go out, and parts of it maybe didn't necessarily apply. So just tweaking it a little bit, then it doesn't match everybody else's content out there and improves your SEO rankings.
Sweet. I love it. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, there's no other questions. We will be in contact with you towards the end of the month, sending you out those top performing ads for January. And if you guys have any more questions, remember, we've got that Voxer app. Make sure you take advantage of it, and we'll be talking soon.
All right.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
See you guys.